Imagine this. God steps onto the stage of history and announces, "I'm rewriting the rulebook. A new covenant is coming, one written not on stone but on your hearts." That's exactly what Jeremiah prophesied around 600 BC, long before Jesus walked the earth. For decades, Jeremiah warned Judah that corruption had rotted the nation from the inside out. Kings were stubborn, princes were arrogant, and false prophets filled the air with comforting lies. Babylon was looming like a storm cloud, and the people were drowning in despair. Yet in the middle of all that darkness, God whispered a promise. Not a temporary fix, but a future transformation. Here's the prophecy. "The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with Israel and Judah. I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. I will be their God and they will be my people." Jeremiah 31 verses 31 to 33. Pause and imagine that. God writing his law on hearts, not tablets. No hard stone. No dusty scrolls. A living covenant for living people. This was revolutionary. Obedience would no longer be about ritual alone. Sin would no longer have the final word. Grace was about to enter human history at full force. If this prophecy were trending today, it would read like a headline. Breaking news. God to install his law directly into human hearts. Update includes grace, mercy, and internal transformation. The people back then probably blinked in confusion. No sacrifices. No stone tablets. Just hearts. Exactly. Fast forward 600 years and Jesus steps into the world. He wasn't just another prophet. He was the fulfillment of Jeremiah's prophecy. Grace over rule-keeping. Love over law. A transformed heart over religion. A permanent relationship over repeated sacrifices. Through Jesus, the new covenant became real. An inner transformation guided by the Holy Spirit. It is really important and matters because you don't have to earn God's love. No checklist, no performance, no holy image. God's love starts with grace. God transforms from the inside out. The new covenant changes your heart first. Then your behavior follows. Failure isn't final. God's law on your heart means restoration is always possible. It's like receiving a system upgrade you didn't have to download. A new operating system for your mind and spirit. Jeremiah's prophecy shows this truth. God doesn't just fix surface problems. He transforms the entire person. Jeremiah lived in a world where speaking truth got you mocked, beaten, or thrown into a muddy cistern, but he chose to speak anyway. He wasn't a king. Not a soldier. Not a celebrity. He was simply a man with a message. A message most people didn't want. Kings ignored him. False prophets mocked him. Friends abandoned him. Officials tried to silence him. Yet Jeremiah kept speaking God's truth with tears in his eyes. His tears weren't weakness, they were compassion. He wasn't angry at his nation. He was heartbroken for it. Jeremiah stood alone with God more times than anyone should have to. Despite being imprisoned, threatened, humiliated, and nearly killed. Yet he never compromised the message God gave him. And through his courage, God revealed something incredible. Jeremiah's suffering pointed forward to Christ. A prophet rejected. A message ignored. A life of sacrifice. A promise of redemption. Jeremiah became a bridge between the old covenant and the new one. His warnings, tears, and prophecies set the stage for the greatest act of love the world would ever see. From Jeremiah's life and actions we get the following: truth matters. Even when it's unpopular. Standing for what's right may cost you. but silence costs even more. Compassion should break our hearts. Jeremiah wept over injustice. Issue 2. Obedience is greater than comfort. Jeremiah lost applause but kept his integrity. Hope survives even the darkest seasons. When Jerusalem fell, Jeremiah never lost sight of God's promises. God's plan always outlasts human failure. Nations rise and fall. Kingdoms crumble. But the covenant of God stands forever. We have now come to the end of the Jeremiah series. Jeremiah's story ends with destruction, exile, and grief, but also with a promise. A new covenant, a new heart, a new hope. And that promise became reality in Jesus Christ. If God was faithful to Jeremiah in the ruins of Jerusalem, He will be faithful to you, in whatever ruins you're standing in today. The covenant is written on your heart. The Spirit is within you. And God's plan for your life is still unfolding. And just like that, we reach the end of Jeremiah's journey. A story filled with warning, tears, rejection, and hope. Jeremiah saw cities fall, friendships fade, and truth ignored. But he also saw God's promise stand firm. A new covenant, a new heart, a hope that would one day change the world. If this series has blessed you, encouraged you, or strengthened your faith, please like, share, and subscribe so others can walk this journey too. And remember, if God was faithful to Jeremiah in the ruins of Jerusalem, He will be faithful to you, right where you are.